What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got a new mini-series featuring Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, Robbie Reyes, The Hood, and Kashala. All different versions of Ghost Rider, called Spirits of Vengeance, with this being issue number 1. Now, The Hood is the newest version of the Rider, and if you missed how Parker Robbins became the Rider, then I put up a link at the top of the screen for you, and a card at the end of the video to the Ghost Rider Final Vengeance playlist. But if you guys are ready to find out what happens when the character known as Vengeance returns to hunt down the rest of the Riders, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So we kick this issue off with a dog that breaks free from his owner and runs into what looks to be a scarecrow that is actually the character once known simply as Vengeance. And then as some time passes, we then pick up with a group of teenagers hanging around with the Vengeance scarecrow. And one of the teenagers mentions that his uncle buys cows from the owner of this land. And then he tells the group that his uncle uses those cows to feed his polar bear that he had gotten from Antarctica. Although one of the girls with the group pulls this kid Tyler's card and tells them that there aren't any polar bears in Antarctica, and also that they don't eat cows. But Tyler sticks by his statement and tells them that that's what his uncle told him. Plus, he's seen the crate that he keeps the bear in. Meanwhile, one of the girls gets a dare to kiss the scarecrow, and since she doesn't want to appear scared, she asks for someone to lift her up so she can do it. So of course one of the boys decides to lift her up, and she's able to complete the dare, and she kisses the scarecrow. But just as she does it, the boy holding her up slips and the two of them go crashing down to the ground, taking the scarecrow down with them. And now thinking that they get caught, they hop into their Jeep and hightail it out of there, leaving two of the teens behind. One of them being the kid Tyler, who responds that the couple that left are just messing around and probably ran off to a makeout spot, but they'll be back. Meanwhile, the girl with him thinks that this is just the other two's twisted way to get them to hook up, although she's not really looking for a relationship and only wants to be friends with him, causing Tyler to reluctantly agree. But then 30 minutes later, the two are still stranded in the field with the fallen scarecrow when the girl with Tyler gets a message from the other two that left them, saying that they were changing a flat tire and that they should be back in about 20 minutes. But then the girl starts to catch a chill and decides to try and use the coat around the scarecrow to warm herself. But when she goes to grab it, a rat runs out, scaring the hell out of her. So of course Tyler tries to do the noble thing and give her a hug to calm her down. But when he hugs her, she feels a little bit of movement down below as Tyler got a little bit excited, causing the girl to pull away and then laugh hysterically at Tyler. But Tyler doesn't take too kindly to being laughed at, and he responds by grabbing the girl and wrestling her to the ground right next to the Vengeance scarecrow, demanding an apology. And he holds her down, angry, feeling like she'd been disrespecting him all day. But as he holds her down, chastising her, his vengeful deed begins to awaken Vengeance, who arises full of flames and grabs a now crying and runny-nosed Tyler and holds him up by his wrist, burning it in the process. But then Tyler and the girl manage to get away as they run screaming, while Vengeance, who must not be at full strength, drops back to the ground and begins to crawl. But then he's approached by someone else who pulls up in a tractor, someone that seems to know who he is. And then we pick up with Johnny Blaze, who's in a dilemma of his own as he's bound up by the sirens of Kronos. See, they had been trapped by Blaze all the way back in 1982's Ghost Rider number 52. But now that they've escaped, they had planned to leave Blaze alone until he came after them, and now they threaten to peel back his skin. Meanwhile, Johnny is only focused on what he came looking for, a shell. And the ladies know where the shell is, but they find pleasure in teasing Johnny about it. But they also tease that they've got Johnny pegged. Sure, they know about the Rider, but they feel like if they continue to appeal to his human form with his male gaze, then he'd be helpless and unable to summon the spirit of vengeance. But that's when Johnny lets them in on a little secret. That being a stuntman means that he gets bored very quickly and easily, and he summons the rider anyway. He was just baiting them, and now the rider is putting boot to ass. And one of the sirens manages to grab the rider and fly him up into the air, threatening that the drop will kill him. But he manages to wrap her up in chains as he falls back to the ground. But instead of hitting the ground, he lands on his bike full of flames, while she falls out of the sky and smacks the ground with a thud. And now that he's officially whooped ass, he walks them down and once again asks for the shell. And this time they give it up to him, but ask why is it that he wants it. And his response is that he can hear the screams from it echoing and calling out to him. But then as he takes off, he gives warning that the next time they cause trouble, his vengeance will be final. And then we pick back up with Vengeance, and we see that fella that had pulled up on him, whose name is Billy. And Vengeance recognizes Billy and calls him by name, which Billy responds that he remembered him much faster this time. That they've had this conversation before, and this is a cycle. Vengeance gets activated, then something sets him off and the memories start to kick in, and then eventually he just flames out. And Billy could never just throw him out, so his best idea was to put him up like a scarecrow, and that he's actually been here for a couple of years. See, Billy knew Vengeance's host and trained him before being injured. But the host Michael was a real hotshot, Billy tells Vengeance. And mention of Michael's name brings back more memories within Vengeance, who realizes that Michael is actually in trouble. But Billy responds that Vengeance always says that, but then gets shut down before he could do anything about it. But Vengeance responds that it's the separation that leaves him weak and he must find him. But then these two are met with some unwelcome guests, as a few locals pull up in their trucks looking for Vengeance. See, the boy Tyler had run and told his uncle Lawrence about what happened, who in turn decided to bring a small mob seeking revenge. But Billy tries to claim that this is all a misunderstanding, but Uncle Lawrence ain't trying to hear that, because this bag of bones, as he calls it, hurt his boy. But Billy defends that Lawrence knows a thing or two about keeping strange company on his property. But Lawrence defends that the difference is he keeps a tight leash on his pets. But Vengeance doesn't take too kindly to being called a pet, and he warns Lawrence not to test him. And once again, Billy tries to defuse the situation, but it's over with for all of that, and Lawrence wants blood. So Vengeance gets up and in Lawrence's face, and then simply hurls Lawrence, causing his mob to open fire and hitting Billy in turn and angering Vengeance even more. And in a moment of panic, Tyler runs over to the big crate that Lawrence had brought with and attempts to release the supposed polar bear. But when he opens it up, it most certainly is not a polar bear, but instead a damn velociraptor, who runs out and chomps down on the arm of Vengeance, who in turn runs and picks up Billy's tractor and then spikes it down onto the dinosaur, sending the mob all running in fear. And then Vengeance calls out to his host Michael, who we then see bound up as Vengeance says not to lose hope, because he's coming for him. But first he must restore his flame from another, an imposter, that will restore him to enough strength that he can save Michael. But then we see Michael plead that if Vengeance can hear him, then just leave him be, as he's only the bait. And as we now see Michael's captives, he continues that it's Vengeance that they want. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about this one? Are you guys looking forward to seeing how things play out? I'm definitely pumped to see all of the writers in one series that teases a shocking ending to the series that us fans won't see coming. Although I know that this community of comic sleuths will figure out the ending long before that happens. So you guys know I want to hear all your best theories you got on this series. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you could do so by stopping by the Comics Icons store and picking up some of this Comics Icons merchandise, including the background music heard right here in this video, available for download. Or by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership, and there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll get loyalty badges, members shoutouts, and up to 20% off of Comics Icons merchandise from the Comics Icons store. And you'll even get the chance to pick out a video of your own choosing for me to post. Plus, we've got tiers to the memberships as well, beginning at just 99 cents. Or you guys could donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of that, then you can still help out this channel's future tremendously by dropping a like, share, and subscribe in the comics icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.